This is kind of thinking aloud, network news. It was a series of pamphlets and chapbooks that I produced in the 1990s. I think registration flash erupts 1990 through to when was it? About 1999 or so, was it? Yeah, about 1999, the year of the eclipse. So I was sort of thinking in public and sort of using this group mind of zines. This is a bound copy that you can get through print and demand. I got it on print and demand because I wanted a bound copy of it for myself, so that I could refer back to this sort of thought process and the way this thought developed through using the networks, the zine networks. These were sort of experimental musicians I was in contact with, but there were also political people experimenting with bizarre politics and bizarre artworks and alternative ways of dealing with the nightmare that we were going through in the 90s, of this nightmare of neoliberalism and how it was commodifying everything in the period immediately following the Cold War. The way that these power structures were breaking apart. I mean, here's an example, Muslimgauze. I mean, he was a very muddled expression of what was happening with in the Middle East. This guy in Manchester who lived a very isolated time producing electronic music and sort of groomed a bit, I suppose, by these groups. He's no longer with us. I wonder what's happened to him these days, in these days of Taliban and Bin Laden and Islamic State sort of a thing. So we don't know. But that's a downside of it, sort of, and this influx of Nazism really into Gothic music. I had this PO box in Newcastle when I started doing this, which, you know, to pick up my mail because I didn't have a fixed address. So I'd be getting mail from these oi bands, you know, these it was intended for these skinhead oi bands, were sent to me by mistake from these neo-Nazis. But also, I mean, there was loony lefties up there as well, these crusties into animal rights and poll tax rioting. And also there was Viz magazine. They had one of the mailboxes as well. So I'd go and pick up my mail, and the postman would call me a capitalist because I've got one of these bloody post boxes. But I mean, I wasn't a capitalist, I was at all. And he was definitely on better money than I was. So I was just trying to find my way through things as an artist. Anyway, network news. But one of the ideas I started developing here is, here we go. To quote, to paraphrase Linton Kwesi Johnson, England is a witch. So this is a physical representation of England as a witch on this fish. Cornwall, Wales. Is Scotland in there? No, it's just England being a witch. And just the way that ideas are projected onto landscape. And ideas have been projected onto this landscape at the moment. This is why we've got food banks, because of these bizarre ideologies which have been projected onto this local landscape. This is why we've got a petrol shortage at the pumps, which doesn't exist. This is why people don't trust the government over COVID, because they're just feeding us fantasies. But in my mind, the way to address these fantasies is to subvert them in some way, but by projecting yet more outlandish fantasies onto that dream world. It's a strategy that the surrealists use, and it's a strategy loads of people use, and but it's just a body of ideas I've sort of been developing over these years, I guess, and thinking in public through network news.